God. 844-500-4242. And now it's time for Grace's News.
Hello, Howard. Thank you for having me. I sent you this article over the weekend, Howie, to your email. I don't know if you saw it, but I thought this would be right up your alley. Book reveals worst about talented TV bleeps. Mike Wallace, Chris Cuomo, and more. Did you read this?
I did, Grace. It was in the New York Post. They had a big excerpt from it. And I said, I thought to myself, I looked at it and I said, in the old days, I would have read this, but now I just think these people are such jerks. And is there anything new in that book that I don't know, or that excerpt in the New York Post?
See, that's a very good point. Probably not. But for me, I haven't hit that stage in life where I'm like over the drama. I still love hearing it, especially from a firsthand source who's not afraid to quote people.
Is it about Mike Wallace or Chris Wallace?
Both.
Both. Funny, Taylor, it does hit on both of them. And it talks about Diane Sawyer and Katie Couric and Chris Cuomo. I thought the Chris Cuomo story, Howie, was really interesting. Also the Diane Sawyer one. So let me read that one really quickly.
Tell me.
The two-faced Diane Sawyer was infamous for her behind-the-back insults. If she was overly friendly and began to kiss you on the cheeks to say hello, chances are she was trashing you behind
Keep your
back.
friends close and Diane Sawyer closer.
Sawyer would be all smiles when she ran into Barbara Walters in ABC's hallways, chuckling over rumors that the two were at odds and dropping the act the moment Walters was out of range. Inside the elevator, Diane looked at me and said, I hate that woman. Don't believe a word she says. She knifes me any chance she gets. She had the look of someone who wanted vengeance. And now I have to say, there's a few stories in here I really like, How, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
One's about Chris Cuomo, one's about Katie Couric, and one's about Mike Wallace and Chris Wallace. Okay, so this is the thing about Chris Cuomo. Let's see here. Chris Cuomo, now a CNN anchor, brought little journalism experience, but a heap.
How does that make him different than anybody else at CNN or NBC or anything? All you got to do is be a coat holder or a relative of a Democrat politician, and then you can get a job.
Howie, you're going to love this. It says Chris Cuomo, now a CNN anchor, brought little journalism experience, but a heaping helping of entitlement to ABC when he landed a correspondence job there. His brother, now Governor Andrew Cuomo, nicknamed Chris Mansion Boy because Chris spent his teen years at the governor's Albany mansion during their father's administration. In 2003, execs at Primetime Live asked Rosen to mentor Cuomo in investigative journalism. I reluctantly agreed. Cuomo greeted me with...
How about just writing obituaries journalism, covering the city council journalism before you move into investigative journalism? Okay,
said,
go ahead.
Cuomo greeted me with, I understand that you are my new B word. He lost me at hello, Rosen recalls. The son of a bleep, Cuomo, I thought. He is definitely going to go far in this business. Katie Couric infuriated Rosen during her short and unhappy 60-minute stint. Lazy and disengaged, and thought she was smarter than all of us who worked on the show.
Oh, your kid. Again, Grace, this is shocking information. Katie Couric is lazy?
She wasn't, he said. And I like this. You're going to love this. Oh my gosh. I want to buy you this book, honestly. In 2008, at the height of Hillary Clinton's presidential primary battle with Barack Obama, 60 Minutes scored a coup. Both candidates agreed to let the show behind the scenes of their campaigns to film twin segments that would run in the same Sunday night slot. Couric was assigned the Clinton interview. Okay, so this is where it gets... But while producers wanted to challenge the former First Lady with weighty questions, Couric was determined to go with her trademark perkiness. She tossed Rosen's script and went for the fluff. How do you do it, she asked. I'm talking pure stamina. Clinton answered with a laundry list of grandmotherly inanities. I take vitamins, I drink tea, not coffee anymore.
Don't forget yoga. Don't forget yoga.
Wash your hands all the time, and if you can't, use Purell. The interview went downhill from there, Rosen gripes. I kept thinking, for this, they are paying Katie $15 million a year? Can I tell one more?
Go ahead.
Mike Wallace never mellowed with age. At ABC, Rosen partnered with Chris Wallace, who had a fractious relationship with his father, both personally and professionally. I now find myself in the weird position of passing along the lessons I learned from his father to his son. In 1997, as Chris Wallace prepared a story on comedian Chris Rock, his father derailed it by convincing Rock to do a sit-down with him instead. since 60 Minutes had better ratings. This was a betrayal on so many levels. I felt I had to call Mike. Rosen writes, Mike, why would you rip off your kid? I asked. He'll get over it, Mike replied. Rosen begged him to reconsider, saying, your choice is simple. You can have Chris speak at your funeral, or you can do the profile of Chris Rock. 15 minutes later, Mike called. I solved the problem, he said. I gave the story to Ed Bradley. Father and son did not speak to one another for nearly a year. I don't know, Howie. I know you know all this stuff before, but these are pretty interesting stories.
Yeah, but you have to think that, Mike Wallace and Chris Wallace were decent human beings, which neither one of them really was. And probably Chris is a worse person than his father.
Right.
And
no.
And how did Chris Wallace get into the business? Was it his innate talent, or was it being Mike Wallace's son? I mean, we know the answer. I would say that anything Mike wanted to take away from him in the business sense would be fine, considering without Mike Wallace, there is no Chris Wallace, right?
Right. And I'm sure it was a nationwide search, Howie, as you always say. Before I get to my
Jay
next
from Chelsea
story,
says, get that author on the show. We probably could get him on the Jay. Is that stuff you'd like to see, or you? I'm kind of over all these people. They're just such jerks. But if people want, we'll get okay, Taylor, let's get that guy on the show. Okay.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
we take requests on this show. It's like an old top 40 radio station, right?
And I know what you mean, Howie, that we already know they're all jerks, but sometimes just to hear like the nitty gritty, like how I love hearing about people, like finding out people are really cheap or really rude. I don't know why. Like that stuff for me, I'll go on a Reddit board of celebrities who are actually such jerks in real life and hear stories about, I was waitressing and, he wouldn't so much as give me like a 10% tip, that kind of stuff. Really, I don't know.
After you read that story the first 1,000 times about John Kerry, you begin to think, John Kerry tosses around quarters like manhole covers.
Yes, exactly. Howie, before I get to my next story, get simple recipes and fresh pre-portioned ingredients delivered to your door, contact-free with HelloFresh. Perfect time to do this. Most people are trying to have pre-portioned meals anyway, so they can get back on track and get healthy. Plus, it's delicious. For a limited time, go to HelloFresh.com. Use code Howie10 for 10 free meals, including free shipping from America's #1 meal kit. That's code Howie10 for 10 free meals at HelloFresh.com. We use it all the time, and it's really great. You don't have to go out and buy like a million random spices or spend a ton of money on a particular meal. You can try a lot of different things, and it's reasonably priced. Howie, did you hear about this story with the new app where a journalist was being a tattletale?
Oh, I did see this. Yes, I saw this story.
Very good story. It's now, guys, bear with me.
This is Glenn Greenwald wrote this story, right?
Yes, it's an excellent story. It's a little in the weeds, but I'm going to break it down as easily as I can. There's a new forum. It's called Clubhouse. And I guess how it works is it's similar to Gab or Parler, where people can go and have free speech and say what they want, but it's voice recordings. It's not, you don't type anything out. I guess it's people, recording themselves, sending it back and forth. So there's a person on here, and her name is Taylor Lorenz. She's from the New York Times. I've seen her name before because I think she used to work at BuzzFeed, and she's one of those people who spends her life trying to get
BuzzFeed
people
to the New York Times. Again, journalism no longer exists if that's the upward path of mobility.
Well, Howie, it's funny because I think she spends a lot of her time trying to get people canceled because I've followed people before who
tell the story about what happened with this. What's his name? Andreessen. So he's some guy from Silicon Valley, but he has like a brain, and he doesn't want to be woke all the time. So he had a bounty out on him, basically, right? They wanted to take him out. It was going to be a big scalp for one of these woke nitwits in the New York Times newsroom. So what happened? Tell us what happened, Grace.
His name is Mark Andreessen. He's a Silicon Valley entrepreneur. She claimed that he used the R word on Clubhouse. And this is what she tweeted. At P. Marca just openly used the R slur on Clubhouse tonight, and not one other person in the room called him out saying anything. So now a person who moderated the room said, I moderated that room. Here's what actually happened. Felicia explained that the Redditors call themselves R Revolution, but Mark never used that word ever. He referenced something else, and that is why people block you because of this horse bleep dishonesty. So she did not apologize, Howie, when she said this.
And she didn't run a
blatant lie.
correction. She didn't run a correction, right?
Oh, no, she didn't run a correction. This is what she said. Thanks for clarifying that it was Felicia saying that word rather than Mark, as many in the room heard it. I hope you can understand how some people in the room felt hearing it. No apology, no retraction. And then
how some people in the room felt hearing it. But what's her name? Lorenz, nobody said it. So
someone said it in a different context, not him and not in the way she was implying. And also then she went and she turned her Twitter. What did she do? That's always a telltale sign that something's gone amiss, is when you turn your Twitter to private all of a sudden and no one can see your tweets anymore, which is something that, Howie, keep in mind, ironically, so many people have had to do in their careers because of this girl. They've had to go private because she starts sending the mobs after them. But I thought that Glenn Greenwald's piece was great. And I just want to read you this one part of it, Howie, that he really nailed it. He said, just take a second to ponder how infantile and stupid in equal parts all of this is. This New York Times reporter used her platform to virtually jump out of her desk to run to the teacher and exclaim, he used the R word. That is what she tried for months to accomplish, to catch people in
that's her
private
beat.
Communications.
That's her beat, is getting people canceled that disagree with the woke policies of the New York Times. And this guy Andreessen, I'm sure he's not a Trump guy. He's just a normal American.
He's just not
who wants to
think.
Yeah, exactly.
But now, ready? This is the last part, Howie, and then my segment's over. She says, Glenn says, but this is now the prevailing ethos in corporate journalism. They have insufficient talent or skill and even less desire to take on real power centers.
Exactly. That's the military key desire.
The military-industrial complex, the CIA and the FBI, Wall Street, Silicon Valley monopolies, the corrupted and lying corporate media outlets they serve. So settling on this penny ante trivial BS, tattling, hall monitoring, speech policing, all in the most anti-intellectual, adolescent, and primitive ways is all they have. It's all they are. It's why they have fully earned the contempt and distrust in which the public holds them.
It was really a good piece. I read it last night. I didn't print it out because I thought it was too in the weeds, but I'm glad you brought it up, Grace. And Glenn Greenwald was so PO'd about this. He said he was taking a week off, but he came back early because he said that's how angry he was about what had happened to this guy.
I've been in that position before where you're like, I'm not going to write a column this week, and then something happens, and you're like, oh, damn it!
It's the R. People want to know what the R word is. Can you even say that anymore?
No. I don't want to be Mark Anderson or whatever. I don't want to be canceled by Taylor Lorenz.
It's not racist, okay? And it's not Republican. It's another word.
But everyone should check that out. I tweeted it out from my account. I'm sure there'll be more fallout from this. But she's been trying for months, Howie, to get on this Clubhouse just so she could tattle on people. I've never seen anything like this. It's so counterintuitive to what I learned growing up, which was like, mind your business. You know what I mean? Like, just leave people alone.
Yeah.
These people are all hall monitors.
We got to figure out a way to tell people what the R word is, though, because we saw it because we saw it online.
Is it another word for developmentally disabled?
Yes, that's it.
I can tell you this too. A person said it about Trump to Kamala Harris, and she laughed about it.
That's right. And then when she was confronted on it, she said, "Oh, I didn't know what he was saying." So that's why you began laughing hysterically as soon as he used the R word to describe the president.
It's also just the fact that she put that out there about this guy that could ruin someone's life. I mean, and this girl knows it.
He's got a lot of money. He's got big bucks. Someone said he's one of the big investors in Robinhood.
But now she just does it, and no retraction, no nothing. She's just like, oh, well, thanks for clarifying.
She's a bounty hunter.
Clarifying your lie. Thanks for telling you that you were lying. That's not clarifying. That's calling you out on lying.
I get it.
All right. Thanks, Howie.
All right. Thank you, Grace. The Biden administration's policies and executive orders are already causing some economic disturbance. Tax laws are going to change. Are they ever? Your tax burden on selling real estate will grow. Don't get caught flat-footed and squander the equity you've built up in your real estate over years or decades. Sell today with J.J. Manning. For over 40 years, J.J. Manning has been the leading auction house in New England. From high-end homes to estates to commercial properties throughout New England, J.J. Manning can get your property sold fast and contingency-free. There is a big reason why Mass Lawyers Weekly voted J.J. Manning #1 for 4 consecutive years, because they have a huge following of bidders who pay cash. When you sell with a broker, you pay the commission, but in an auction, The buyer pays. These are treacherous times in the real estate market. The residential real estate in the suburbs and the nicer areas is going through the roof. Commercial retail real estate, not so much, to put it mildly. You got to know what you're doing. To learn more on how to get your property sold fast at the highest prices, contact Charlie Gill at jjmanning.com. With over 16,000 sales and satisfied clients, you could be the next one. Call them today at 800-521-0111 or go to jjmanning.com and get your property sold. I'm Howie Carr.
Keep it